All right, good morning, guys. How are you? You look a little hungry this morning. How about we give you just a little bit more food? There you go. Good morning, guys, or afternoon, or whatever time it is you're watching this video. It is a little bit of a stormy morning here in Southwest Missouri. We got a little bit of rain coming in. I got to get my morning chores done, feed the birds, feed the rabbits, collect the eggs, and then we're going to go check out my newest hatch. Rainy today, good grief. Wait. Well, got my special egg collecting buckets here, so we're gonna take those with us. Yes. How you guys doing this morning, huh? Plenty of food, plenty of food. Well, I made it easy. They've got plenty of food. Just had to collect eggs this morning. Just a handful of eggs, but that's really all I need right now. So let's go in and check out the hatch, see how it's going. Hey guys, welcome back to another Slightly Rednecked video. Again, my name's Chris, and if you're not familiar with this channel, I help you to produce your own meat, eggs, and vegetables from your backyard, your balcony, your deck, your garage, or even a spare room in your house if that's the way you want to do it. Today we're going to be checking out my newest hatch. I just put eggs in the incubator, well, a little over 2 weeks ago, right before I went on vacation. I did a dry hatch, which means I didn't add any water to the incubator until lockdown, which I'll discuss a little bit more here in just a minute. But it is, you know, still kind of summertime here in Southwest Missouri, so our humidity levels running about at least 50 to 60% most of the time. In the winter time when it's really dry, I'd probably want to add some water to keep the humidity up. But we're going to go see how well the eggs did, because I pretty much didn't do anything. I put them in the incubator before I went on vacation, in the egg turner, and then I took them out of the egg turner, added some water to the incubator, and let them hatch out at lockdown, and that was it. I mean, it was pretty easy. We'll see how good of a hatch rate I got out of this. But I got to get these brooder boxes set up before I can go in and get those birds out of the incubator. Apologize for the low light conditions in here. I know it's not ideal, but I think you'll still be able to see. So I've got one brooder box set up already, water and food in it, the light ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and set up the other one. I gotta look for there we go. What I use for bedding in my brooder boxes anymore is just paper towels. I find that it works really, really well. They're super easy to clean up. Usually what I find is about the first week, I'm gonna have to go get another roll of towels, I'm about out. But about the first week that the birds are in the brooder box, you know, there's not a whole lot of cleanup that needs to be done. They're not that messy for the first week, depending on how many birds you have, of course. Then after that, it gets pretty messy pretty quick. So I like to keep these in a double layer. I don't have enough on this roll. Let me go grab some more paper towels, and then we'll finish getting this up, and I'll just keep these on hand for cleanup stuff and whatnot. So while I'm setting this up, you might wonder why I've got two brooder boxes. It's because I'm hatching out both meat makers and jumbo pharaohs, and I want to do my best to keep them separate so I can keep track of which ones are which. These are probably just going to be grow outs, But just in case I want to keep some of them for future breeders, I do want to, like I said, keep them separate so I know which ones are the Pharaohs, which ones are the meat makers. Because once they mingle together, it's pretty much impossible to tell them apart. So we'll see how well I kept them separate in the incubator. This may not be an option, but either way, I don't have that many birds, but it's still two brooder boxes, keeps it a little bit cleaner even if I don't have that many. I don't know how many I've had hatch yet. We'll find out here in a few minutes. All right, so bedding is down, put my waterer in there. Show you what I'm using for a waterer. These are my favorite. Let's see, I brought one over here to show you. What did I do with it? There it is. These are my favorite waterers for baby quail, and it's really nice because they've got this real small channel right here. They just screw onto a mason jar. You don't have to worry about putting marbles or anything like that in there that gets all nasty and messed up, and they won't get in there and get wet and chill. If you're using a bigger tray than this, you know, something that has a wider where the birds can actually get in there, you need to add some marbles or something like that to it to keep the birds from getting submerged in the water. A lot of people worry about them drowning. It's not that they generally drown. It's what happens is they get submerged in the water, they get wet and they get chilled, and it's incredibly difficult for them to get warm after that point. Once the birds get wet, there's a good chance you're going to lose them. So you want to keep them dry as you can. And this waterer does a great job of that. So that's what I really like about these. I do have these in my Amazon shop, which there'll be a link down below. You can go and pick these up if you want to. As far as the food goes, I don't use a feeder. I just throw the feed on the bottom of the brooder box because, well, they're messy eaters anyway. They're just going to throw the feed out of whatever feeder I put in there. It's going to be all over the floor anyway, so I just save the hassle and put it right on the bottom. It works pretty well. As they get a little bit older, after they're about a week and a half old, somewhere right around in there, then I'll start putting it a little bit more in a feeder just to kind of keep it contained because they produce a lot more mess at that point. But for the first week or so, about week and a half, I should say, it works fine just to throw the feed on the floor, no problems. And then to put my lighting on, let me get my lid on here real quick. My lid's a little warped, doesn't want to sit on there. I've got these little hardware cloth cones I've kind of made. I don't know how tall they are. Let's see, do I have a tape measure here? I'll tell you how tall they are. But these have worked out really well for keeping the heat a little bit more consistent. I do have an automatic temperature controller that's going to, this is the Inkbird. I can't remember what the model number is. I'll put a link down below. Inkbird 308 Wi-Fi. Connects to Wi-Fi, can control it with my smartphone, all that kind of stuff. Set the temperature on here and it'll turn the lights on and off enough to keep it right at 100 degrees or whatever temperature I set it at, which is 100 degrees to begin with. But I found these are 9.5 inches and I found that works pretty well. So the lights aren't just going on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off all day long. It leaves them you know, just enough room to where it can be a little bit more consistent with the temperature. Be a little careful I don't knock them over. I was just talking about how great these things work and then just bumped that one and it fell right over, so. Oh, come on, get on there. Now, as long as these stay pretty sturdy, or pretty still, I guess I should say, I don't have to worry about them falling over. Let's get the temperature sensor in there before I turn these on. I just put the temperature sensor in one of the boxes. I can't put it in two of them anyway, but there's no reason to put it in two of them. And I'm going to put it right under the light because what I want is I want a gradient for these guys to be able to get in and out of the heat if they want to. So there we go. There's my temperature sensor. All right, let's plug this all in, see how we do. Where's my plug? Which one's which? I'm getting all confused here. Those are both plugged into there. Oh, there it is, way down there. All right. And I got to set this thing. Okay, right now it's at 75, 76 degrees, something like that. So I've got to give this a little bit of time to warm up. I do have my water on the wrong side. I want my water over there and my food over here, but it's not that big a deal. I'll fix that later. I'll get my temperature probe There, that'll work. All right, so we'll give this just a little bit of time to warm up. It's already at, it's warming up quick. It's already at 77 degrees. So I think we can go in, get the birds out of the incubator, and by the time we do all that, these will be warmed up and be ready to go. So let me find a bucket here because I need to bring them out in batches. This will work right here. We'll bring out the Pharaohs first. Well, actually, I don't know. We'll bring out one of them first. I don't know which one. We'll find out when we get in there. All right, so we're in my spare room where my incubator is. I can hear the birds moving around inside there. We're at about a 54% humidity, so I'm gonna go dump this cold water out and get some warm water. I've got a turkey baster here, because when I get these birds out, I'm gonna add some more warm water to the trays, get that humidity up for the eggs that haven't hatched to give them a chance to go ahead and hatch. So let me do that real quick. All right, I got some warm water now. I got a trash can here to discard the eggs that have already hatched and any birds that may have passed, any of that kind of stuff. I want to be fairly quick whenever I open this up. Let me bring you in close so you can watch the process. What I'm going to do is open it up, get the birds out, the dried off birds out as quick as I can, remove the eggs that have already hatched, and then I'll close it back up, take those birds out, put them in the brooder box, and then I'll come back in, do it again with the second batch, add some water to it, close the incubator back up, and hopefully any eggs that haven't hatched will hatch over the next couple of days. I usually find that happens. I get a big bunch of birds that hatch at first, and then the eggs that are left over, I add some water to the incubator, close it up, and then in the next day or two, I'm going to get several more of those hatch out. So let me bring you in a little bit closer so you can see the incubator, see what's going on. We'll take a look. All right, so again, I want to work fairly quickly. So let's just move this off here. So yeah, I got one bird that passed down there, it looks like. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Is that bird? Yeah, that bird's did not make it, unfortunately. All right, let's get these eggs that have already hatched out of here. That one's pipping. I like to kind of move them together too. I've got this piece of cardboard in here to kind of separate the meat makers from the Pharaohs. So move them all back towards the center a little bit. There's another egg that is hatched already. There's another one. And there's another one. I still got quite a few left to go. But there was a little bit of an early hatch on these. All right, let me go get these guys thrown in the brooder box real quick. I'll come back and we'll get the meat makers out. All right, Pharaohs are in the brooder box, so let me work on getting the meat makers that have hatched out of here right now. 1, 2, that one's a little bit damp, but I think he's gonna be okay. Usually like to wait until they're completely dried out, but I think they're gonna be okay. We'll find out, won't we? Got a nice warm brooder box to put them in, so they should be fine. Oh, there's one underneath there. All right, let's add some water to this incubator. Get that humidity level back up for him. I can see one trying to pip right now. Better make sure he doesn't get shrink wrapped in there. I'll give you some water. I find that I just need to fill up the 2 outside channels, and I'm going to fill them all the way to the top because I don't want it to run out of water before I get a chance to get the rest of the birds out of, the rest of the bird's hatch. Try not to drop water on the eggs while you're doing this, of course. And again, use warm water so you're not cooling off the incubator. I think I can get a little bit more in that tray. All right, let's close this back up and we'll see how many hatch out in the next day or two. Let's go get these guys in the brooder box. All right, so hopefully you guys can see me. I know I'm backlit here, so I'm showing up as a shadow, but got the pharaohs in there already. They're starting to move around. A couple of them are a little damp. I could have waited a little bit longer, left them in the incubator until they dried out completely, but I think they're gonna be okay in here. We'll find out. Let's get these meat makers in here, see if I can do this without knocking the light off. I can't. Let me just get this light out of the way for a second so I don't have to worry about it. There we go. There we go. That's much better. I'm sure they're all standing. They're all doing okay. Get the light back on them, get them warmed up. What do I do with, there we go. There we go. All set up. Let me turn around here so you can actually see me. We're not, in the backlight. All right, so as you can see, not a ton of birds yet. I've still got quite a few eggs to hatch. We're going to see how they do over the next day or two. And again, sorry I don't have the best lighting conditions in here. I know I'm showing up as just a shadow right now. I can't help it. It's too rainy outside to go outside. You may be able to see the rain coming down out there. And I'm in the garage. There's just not good lighting in the garage. So we're just going to have to deal with it. But that's okay. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Just wanted to show you how the new hatch was going. What I plan on doing now is collecting eggs, probably starting tomorrow. I'll collect them for a week and then I'll set them in the incubator on Friday. So that'll give me, these guys will be about 3 to almost 4 weeks old. By the time those hatch out and need the brooder boxes, I can move them out to the grow out pens and then put the new birds in the brooder box at this point. And that may be the last hatch I get for the season. I don't know. It depends on how well the weather holds up, when we get our frost, when we get our freeze. How cold it's getting. I might be able to do some additional hatching throughout the rest of the fall at least, and maybe even into winter, depending on if the weather holds up well. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. As always, God bless.